Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. I have a few things to cover with you guys tonight. Counting through this together a bit, I have some important things that I have to take care of later on this evening, but I'm going to try to get this out there to you guys, try to make this as short as I possibly can so that I can pass the information to you and everybody can go about their business this evening and not be worried about listening to what I have to say, but hopefully you will listen and learn something. So we're going to start today with a young child. He's 1 year old. I won't give out his name. I'll leave links in the description as to where you can read about him. But this young man, he was 1 year old. He was in his mother's car at a gas station when a gentleman decided to carjack them. The police came chasing after the man, and they shot and killed the suspect, and they also shot the 1 year old in the head, and he is now in Houston in the hospital, and I'm not sure what his prognosis is going to be or is, but I can assure you with gunshot wounds it's really not that great. I just hope that his mother and his family can get something, something good happens for them. I would hope that the medical staff does whatever they can to try to save the very young man's life. I would hate to see this be a tragedy for them more so than what it already is. But what I want to say about this is that our police, it's good that they came along to help this family when they did, but our police need training, and they really need training bad because they are poorly trained. And I'll explain. I'm a former military member. I'm retired military. I've been in or served with every branch of the United States military service. And every time I've gone out, I've had to handle weapons. I can handle pretty much anything that shoots something. And I'm really good at it because I practiced and I took it seriously, because that's someone's life that you may be taking, or someone's life could be taken by your mistakes. So we always learn that, you keep your finger off the trigger, straight off the trigger. You only point the weapon at something that you intend to shoot. Keep the weapon on safe at all times unless you plan on shooting it. And know your target. Know what's around your target. Know what's behind the target. Know everything about what you're about to do before you even think about pulling that trigger. And I don't think this is what happened when the Houston Police Department came along and killed the suspect and then shot the child in the head. Not a graze, but square on in the head. And I would just hope that someone would see this. When we talk about defunding the police, we're not saying take the police away. We're saying take some of the responsibilities that the police have away from them. In this instance, yes, that's pretty much their job, but also take the responsibilities of like mental health and things like that away. Stuff like that they shouldn't be involved in unless there's weapons involved or whatever. But in this instance, the officers' training across the board is poor at best, because you never fire your weapon if you don't know what other collateral damage that you could cause. I know that. I'm not a cop, but I understand weapons and how to handle weapons. And I'll never fire a weapon if I ever happen, which I don't have to hopefully ever do it again, unless I know what I'm going to hit and I'm sure of the things that are around the target that I'm aiming at. So moving on, I'm sorry that I had to give you bad news, but there's more bad news. The other bad news is there was a gentleman in Georgia who went on a rampage and through some massage parlors and killed quite a few Asian Americans. And I don't know, and I'm saying this now, I don't know if it was racially motivated. I have no idea. I don't have all that information. All I know is that it's extremely sad that 8 people died. I think the majority of them were females, if not all. And it's just sad that someone felt the need to take someone else's life unnecessarily. Not that it's ever really truly necessary, but to take people's lives because they were having some type of issue, be it rejection, be it discriminatory issues. That's still no excuse. Get help for yourself, but don't take people's lives. It's just not. It's not necessary. But the sheriff's department did send a spokesman after they captured the young man without incident. Which does go to show you that police can take people into custody without murdering them. But I digress. Their spokesman came along and talked about capturing the young man and said that he had a really bad day. I don't think that he had a really bad day. I think the people who are dead and their family members are had a really bad day and are still having bad days. So I don't think this gentleman, this young man who killed these people, had a bad day. I think he's a murderer, and no matter what his issue is, he needs to meet justice like anyone else who doesn't look like him would get justice. But the spokesman who gave the information about his arrest also happens to be a racist. Go figure. He was pandering shirts or peddling shirts stating that the coronavirus, was from China. And so he's kind of racist, and that's just, no, there's no kind of. You either are or you aren't. He's pretty racist for that, and that's just not cool. You still wonder why we kneel? You still wonder why we have protests about civil rights? Well, there's two examples right there, but wait, there's more. So a bill was passed, part of the COVID bill that was passed was that black farmers would get $5.2 billion to help them out with all their debts, and loans that they couldn't get. And the reason why black farmers are like 1/4 of all the farmers in the United States is because over the past, I think, 100 years, they've been taking their farms away from them and their land away from them by denying them loans, making it harder for them to keep their farms, passing bills to make it so that they would lose their farms. Banks were intentionally not giving them loans so that they couldn't get equipment, so that they couldn't do the things that they need to do to be just farmers, all the while giving all those other accolades and all those amenities to white farmers without question, but still, taking that away from the black farmers. So finally, our government decided to do something about it and fix the problem and forgive their debts, which they should do with college, but that's a whole nother video. 120% of their debt. So that's amazing that this has finally happened, like it should have happened from the very beginning over 100 years ago. But assholes, Lindsey Graham lost his shit and decided that he would be a racist and pretend as if he doesn't understand why this happened and act as if he or white farmers are the victim, when just last year Trump gave white farmers reparations. There we go. I'll use Lindsey Graham's term, reparations, for when their farms were going down. He gave them money and loans so that they keep their farms running for the shit that he started and put them in debt to begin with. So that's Trump screwed the farmers and then paid them for screwing them over, whatever. But the black farmers finally got their just dues after all these years, and Lindsey Graham, being the racist that he is, did not like it and pretended as if this was some type of reparations and that white people were going to be, tossed off their farms because people of color actually were going to get something good happening for them. So fuck Lindsey Graham. He's a racist piece of shit. The other thing I want to talk to you about today is Pepe Le Pew. I know this is... Why should anyone care about Pepe Le Pew, right? I mean, it's a damn cartoon character for Looney Tunes. But we should care about Pepe Le Pew and why Warner Brothers, whoever's owned the rights to the cartoons now, I think it's still Warner Brothers, decided to not have him in a Space Jam movie or show the cartoons with him in it. Because there's a thing called consent. And back in the 40s, when Pepe Le Pew was popular, and later on when they showed his cartoons, people didn't quite get that Pepe Le Pew was He's a fucking sexual assault fucking rapist. He just was. So they decided to pull Pepe Le Pew, and rightfully so, because what type of message are you giving young boys when you're telling them that it's okay to have this behavior and exude this behavior towards women at a young age? You're watching these cartoons. There's this skunk bouncing around chasing after a cat who he's mistaken for a skunk and forcing himself upon her, basically sexually assaulting her, and it's just not fucking funny. It's not. There's a thing called consent, and that's what we need to focus on. Today I have gotten so much shit on Instagram because I said, hey, people put up a picture of Pepe Le Pew and the cat, and he's trying to rape her basically. And the other picture was of Cardi B and some other young lady dancing on stage together. And they were doing this little scissor thing, dance, whatever. And people said they couldn't understand the difference between the two. And the main comment I made was, yeah, the difference is consent. You have two consenting adults dancing on a stage, getting paid to do something. And then you have a non-consenting cat or character and a person who's another character or another character that is negating the fact that they are not given consent to do what they're doing. That's sexual assault, and it's illegal. So we shouldn't be applauding that. There shouldn't be a question about consent. Guys, consent. Nudity doesn't mean consent. Flirting doesn't mean consent. Buying food and or drinks doesn't mean consent. Dancing with you, however, doesn't mean consent. Consent is consent. That means two people of age, whatever that is now, wherever you are, agree to have a consensual relationship however far it goes, up until the point where someone says no. Okay, at that point, there's no consent. But other than that, if those two people, or however many people, no matter what the sex, once they say no, that's it. But if they say yes, okay, anything goes up until no comes up. Gentlemen, that's called consent. If they say yes, it's consent. Up until they say no, then that's not consent. Pepe Le Pew didn't get that message of no. It's not consent. But I got shit for saying something about it today. I was called every dirty name in the book because I stood up, I wouldn't say stood up for women's rights, but just everyone's right to say no and give consent. So if there's still an issue where people are confused about the consent thing and why Pepe Le Pew is no longer part of whatever, just think of it. If you have a child who's girl or boy, male or female, and they're in a situation where someone is not taking no for an answer and they just do whatever the hell they want to do, I hate to tell you, but that's called rape or sexual assault, and it's non-consensual. So grow up, people. Get over it. This is a new day and age. We just don't run around fucking raping people. That's never the way. Just grow up is all I can pretty much say about Pepe Le Pew. Grow up, people. Anyway, excuse me. That's pretty much all I have today. But before I go, I just want to say once again, I'm sure you guys are getting sick of me saying this, COVID is still a thing. Please wash your hands, wear a face mask. Don't forget social distancing. It's not that goddamn important to go out and party and get your hair and nails did. It's not that effing important. Your life, your health is more important than those trivial things. They are way more important. I don't care, like I said before, what party, who you like or don't like, what your sex is, what gender. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Only thing that matters to me is that everyone is safe and we do whatever it takes to kick this virus in the ass and get it away from us completely and, clear ourselves of it. Everyone get your corona vaccine. There's no microchips in it. That's bullshit. Why would they put a microchip in your vaccine when you have a damn cell phone? Duh. So just take care of yourselves, people. It's just really important that we do this. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, please have a nice evening. Please be safe. Take care of yourselves and your family. And don't forget to be the best heathens that you can be, and have a great evening.